when you say filling them in on what's going on in the session, you certainly, or maybe you do. You mean the regular session, not necessarily the special session. What was the joke that was going around about the special session? If they had more time, they could have done less.
Well, that's right. They all blend in together. So whether you're talking regular or fiscal, what we talk about is that they all kind of blend into one at some point. And the question we have, we represent the employers of the state, big, small, every industry that are under the sun. And what I hear from businesses is just like, why can't they fix it? Why can't we get some surety? And why do they always try to blame the private sector for the problems of government? And so we try to explain what some of the issues are and educate folks on the outside, because our view is simple. If we don't educate people on the outside of the system to demand change, change isn't going to happen from the inside.
So you just said, everybody wants to know, why can't they fix it? Why do they blame us? Why can't they fix it? Why do they blame businesses?
Listen, over the last 2 years.
And first of all, who is they?
Well, there's a lot of these. That's the thing. But anyway, I'll say the inside players of the Capitol. And look, both parties in North and South Louisiana, everyone's got some piece of this, okay?
It's not as though you didn't have to get a lot of Republicans on board for the penny sales tax.
That's right. That's right. Look, when the penny sales tax came up, you had, 36 Republicans vote for that thing. They held their nose and did it. But they said, look, at the end of the day, if that's what needs to happen, needs to happen. And all the Democrats flaked at that point. That put everyone in their bunkers, and everyone started shooting and pointing fingers. And that's why it turned into gridlock. But I want to take one step back. Over the last 2 years, the budget's gone up $5 billion. And yet we're still in this constant deficit posture. At some point, government's got to figure out, can you deliver the services that people need at a cost we can afford or not? And if you can't, it's time to change the system wholeheartedly and not just patch it together every year.
Was it Scott Hughes? Who was it, Parkey, that used the phrase the other day about taxes? Was it Scott Hughes? The sentiment of no.
Yeah,
was that Mr. Scott?
Yeah.
He referred to the current nationwide trend, not a bad one in my mind, what he called voters' sentiment of no. And if you look at Louisiana and Louisiana voters, my question is the government, in this case John Bell, Jay Darden, the Democrats, and some Republicans, they're saying, you got to give us more money. My question is, well, why? What am I getting now? What's the bang for my buck? Why, if I'm getting this for this, why would I give you more?
Well, to me, the sentiment that speaks to me is there's just broken trust. I mean, any relationship, whether it's in with your spouse or with your government, trust has to be there. And right now, taxpayers do not trust that if they give additional dollars to government, it will be used in a way that helps them in any manner. And so trust is broken completely. And so until that trust is rebuilt, you are going to have a public that is very skeptical of any politician that says we need more money, we can't do something without it.
Is there any way, when you say government has broken that trust?
Yeah.
Let me read
at all levels.
Let me read behind the widely spaced lines. Are you saying John Bell and Jay Darden and the Democrats and some Republicans in Baton Rouge, that people, until there's a change in the executive office of the state of Louisiana, that voters are just kind of getting, no.
We have a bipartisan problem of broken trust. I'll say it like that. And just to get a little wonky on you, to me, the problem we have is in the 1920s, we decided we wanted everyone to go to the Capitol and kiss the ring of whoever's in charge. And that's the only way anything will happen in Louisiana.
If you can, pardon me, if you can in about 30 to 45 seconds, if that is possible, explain to everybody, because you see all the time. One of my constant lines, one of the things I say is about Louisiana. I say, should we look at Texas?
Yep.
And when we look at Texas, should we say, what does Texas do that we don't, we should start? And maybe more important, what do we do that Texas doesn't that we should quit? And one of those things is that the state government, specifically the office of governor in Louisiana, is one of the most powerful in America. If you can't explain to people what that means in about a minute, please do.
Well, I just got a minute after 30 seconds. I love that. The time's going up here, Keith.
I'm like the state budget.
So in Texas, more of your tax dollars are paid locally. And your local governments there are more responsible for things like roads and community colleges and economic development, things like that. In Texas, the state capital does not play kingmaker and puppet master for everything that has to happen. In Louisiana, local government largely is a spectator. And all of our taxes flow up to the capital, and we hope and pray it trickles back down. And about 100 years of evidence has shown it doesn't do a good job of that. So the biggest differential in Texas, you pay your taxes local and you demand local results. In Louisiana, you pay more of your taxes to the state, and you've become very skeptical that anything good will happen with those dollars.
Sort of related to that, and maybe it's not as related as I think, there are a lot of calls over the last few days. We need a constitutional convention. What do you think about it? I mean, Matt and I talk all the time that it seems like the only two things budgetarily in the state that aren't protected are healthcare and schools,
That's right.
which seem to be the two things we ought to protect.
And corrections. Corrections is the other one, and those three aren't in there. But Constitutional Convention, the thought scares me, but I'll tell you, we got to go there. I don't think we have much of a choice anymore. Every year, the same old excuses that we can't do anything but raise taxes. There's no other options. If that's what we're going to hear left and right every single year from the Capitol, well, then it is time to get in that Constitution. It's time to rebrand it. But I tell you what, a Constitution can be good or bad. So the people outside of the system
what you pray
have to
for,
demand
right?
a better Louisiana before you go into it. Because if they just say, yeah, go into convention and fix it, let me know when you're done, I'm telling you, the insiders of the Capitol are going to make it worse, not better.